great things the networks are doing, again, I think are happening on all sorts of levels. On the ground, I think really passionate people coming together to make a real difference at local level is happening. But also for us, a real challenge the networks offer in terms of some of the things we're trying to do at council level, whether that be a new policy, whether that be a culture change programme, whether that be something as simple as an office move. What we're trying to do more and more nowadays is make sure that we listen, we learn, and we build our programme of work around what staff networks and people in our organisation think is most important.
So staff networks are absolutely the lifeblood of the D&I agenda at the Department for Transport, and over the past 3 years we have really worked to bring the relationship between the staff networks, the department and also our senior champions to life to really have an impact. We started off by creating an agreement for how we would work together that really understands that without the networks we're not going to drive forward the inclusion agenda, but equally important is the role of the senior champions in supporting each of those networks, in challenging them, bringing their ideas out and actually empowering them, really giving them a yes so that they can start to make real change.
Well, at Homes England, we're very fortunate in that we've actually invested a lot in our staff networks. Prior to this year, we had 2 staff networks for the same characteristic, LGBT. So we've got an LGBT network and an LGBT allies network. However, this year, the last 2017, what we did was push our staff networks or our staff harder to say, please think about forming a staff network. And the reason for that is because we wanted to bring our diversity value to life. Our diversity value is one of our 6 new values as a new agency. So we wanted to bring that to life, and the only way we can do that is, or one of the ways we can do that is by having strong and vibrant staff networks. So I did a push for more staff networks to start, and fortunately we've seen them start and do quite well and prosper quite well at the agency.
I think that there really is a building need and a recognition of the value of staff networks. I think that the whole inclusion and diversity agenda is really growing again. I think we got to a stage a few years ago where people thought, we're there, we've done that and we've moved on, but actually from some of the work that some people and some organisations are doing in the community, it's actually demonstrating the need that actually if we do a little bit more, we can have a better outcome. And that's especially through staff networks to see what they can bring, and by standing up and making a difference and showing the value that you can bring, it gets more people on board. Because I think that's what's really been successful for ours, is the fact that there was a number of us working on it at the start, and we really went for it, and we wanted to be able to be a positive influence on the organisation and the work that we were doing externally. So it was never just about one person or one agenda. There was a range of topics that we took on from the start, and I think that we really demonstrated the use and the value that we added to the organisation.
But then another area is the training material that Exco have allowed us into the Human Resources Department so that we can review the training. And it's wonderful. At the moment we're reviewing the induction courses, we're reviewing the hiring managers courses, we're reviewing other courses that managers take to make sure there's sufficient adequate reference to people of faith and their needs. So the examples that they use and the terminology, and making sure people are aware that, for example, some people of faith don't shake hands when they come into an interview room, and not to be offended, but to recognise that it's part of their faith and they're allowed to have that role.
We have a number of outlets. We have social media, Twitter, Facebook, to reach the sort of people who are far out. Internally, we have internal emails, intranet that goes on like a strapline on our computers. Word of mouth. Word of mouth is the best. If somebody, up until 2015, I had a stigma. I always thought, anybody with mental health go and stand in the corner, you know. But then I thought, well, is that going to not let me progress in my career? Is because if I disclose that I do have mental health and anxiety issues, is that going to stop me from applying for more roles like firearms or driver training or response training? And actually, when you approach people and actually admit to yourself, admit to others, it doesn't. You know, and that's the power of the staff networks.
So I started as an intern at Harper Collins in the communications department, and it was just mentioned to me kind of offhand that there was this really interesting grassroots network which had been set up, and it was a chance to meet people from all over the business, and I think that's really why I was sort of recommended to go to it. And so I went along feeling a little bit cynical, if I'm honest, because I thought I know it's obviously what the network dealt with, and I sort of was wondering why I'd been suggested to go. And I was just amazed at the different levels of seniority at that meeting, in that there were assistants, there was me as an intern, there was a director, there was a member of the exec team, and people were just talking in a very non-hierarchical way about issues that were affecting our industry, issues that were affecting the company. And I just thought, first of all, what an amazing place to sort of meet people and get to broaden my own knowledge of Harper Collins, but also it was an area that I've always been interested in, and I think the fact that it was so kind of bottom-up and grassroots in its originality just really impressed me, and I just wanted to be a part of it.